Hi, I welcome you all for this video lesson. I am Ramadas, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Technology, Vignan University, Guntur, Andhra Pradesh. In my previous session, we have seen the grammars. So, today also we are going to see about this video lesson also we are going to see about this grammars. This is grammar for the third unit. So, third unit, the topic is that grammars. Whereas in this grammars in previous sessions, we have seen that the grammar that consists of the four tuples like that, where the grammar is used to describe the syntactic structures of many programming languages, and this grammar have different kinds of grammars like type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3 likewise. So, type 0 means phrase unstructured grammar, and type 1 means context sensitive grammar, and type 2 means context free grammar, and type 3 grammar, it is a regular grammar. So, in previous sessions we have seen the regular grammars. The regular grammar is also a grammar. The right hand side of the production, that at most only one non-terminal symbols on that right side of these productions, where that regular grammar also is categorized as linear grammar. That means right linear grammar and left linear grammar. So, in this previous video session, we have seen those topics of right linear grammar and left linear grammar and some examples. In this video session, we are going to see that context free grammar. So, context free grammar is a type 2 grammar. So, the regular grammar is also a grammar which is recognized by the finite automata. So, the regular grammar is also a grammar which is recognized by the non-deterministic finite automata. So, both NFA and DFA that recognize the languages, that is called as a regular languages. Whereas in this context free grammar, it's a type 2 grammar, it is recognized by the push down automata. So, we are going to see more detailed about this context free grammar. So, the class of context free languages that generalizes the classes of regular languages. That is, every regular language is a context free language. Every regular language is a context free language. So, because it is that over the classes of regular languages, there is a context free languages that's over the classes of regular languages. So, that's what we have see that one. Every regular language is a context free language. Whereas, if you go for the reverse of this is not true. The reverse side, if you take this one, it is a not true. That is, every context free language is not necessarily a regular. It is not necessarily it is a regular language. So, the fundamental concept is only one thing is that over the classes of regular languages, context free languages generalizes over the context free language. That is, every regular language is a context free language. Every regular language is a context free language, whereas the reverse of this is not true. That is, every context free language is not necessarily a regular languages. So, how can we go for prove that it is a regular language or not? So, if we want to prove the language is become a regular language, we have to use the concept of pumping lemma. So, pumping lemma is a concept which is used to prove that the language is regular or not. Whereas, we cannot use that one again, this pumping lemma in this context-free languages. So, for example, we will set this the language. The language is 0 power k, 1 power k, where k greater than or equals 0 is a context-free, but it is not a regular. So, as I said, right, the pumping lemma showed there are languages that are not regular. The pumping lemma showed there are languages are not regular. So, we have to using the concept of pumping lemma, right? The languages are not regular. Whereas many classes of, that is a larger classes, the larger classes of this grammar than it is a regular languages. So, one of these classes are called here context free languages. One of this is called as a context free language. So, context free grammar also we can call as a context free languages. So, both what are the language generated, that strings that is recognized by this grammar, then we can call it as a context free language and context free grammar. See, this abbreviated CFG, that is a context free grammar, it is an abbreviated form or useful in many applications. So, in applications where we are using this context free grammars and context free languages. So, the first thing is describe the syntax of programming languages. The first point, the applications of this context free languages, we are going to use this describing the syntax of programming languages. There are many programming languages are there. For those programming language, we can go for describing the syntax. And second one is the parsing. So, parsing is nothing but which is the recognizer. Once we give the input, this input is recognized by the parser or not. Likewise, the programming language, whether the parser that recognize the syntax or tokens, keywords, identifiers. Likewise, the parser is going to parsing the inputs and structure of the documents, that is XML. So, this context free languages is applied in these three areas. One is for that describing syntax of programming language and parsing in the compilation process while we go for compile the program. So, during the compilation program, the parser that takes the input and parsing this program or process like what we have written in the programming language like keywords, identifier, tokens, operator symbols, all these are to be parsed by the parser. This is the conversion process from one form into that another form, that is a parsing, and the structure of XML document. So, the third one, it is structure of that XML document. So, we are using this in these three areas. Next, the context free language CFL. The definition, context free language CFL, where the CFL is an abbreviated form. Context free language is a language generated by context free grammar. The language, right? Context free language is a language generated by a context free grammar. A grammar that generates the languages, that is context free grammar that generate the languages, those languages, okay, we will call it as a context free languages. And second, what is a CFG? So, CFG is a set of rules. CFG having that, originally it is having some set of rules, that is deriving or generating strings. Deriving or generating strings or sentence. We can go for called as a strings or sentences in a language. So there are some rules are there, then set of rules are there. So there are some process like deriving or generating strings in a languages. A grammar generated a string, whereas a machine accepts a strings. A grammar generated the strings, whereas the machine that accepts a strings. Context-free grammar, CFG, where this grammar usually that consists of the left-hand side of this production and right-hand side of this production. Generally, for example, if we have a productions A implies B. A implies B. This A is the left-hand side of this production, right? And B is the right-hand side of the productions. So here the context-free grammar that consists of set of replacement rules. So that is the replacement. What we are going to replacing. So this right-hand side we are going to replace. Each having a left-hand side and right-hand side. So we are going to replacing. So the next operations in that replacing that one. So there are two types of symbols we are using this one. So there are two types of symbols. One is variables, another one is terminals. So generally the grammar is denoted by G. So we know that the grammar is denoted by G, where this grammar that consists of 4 tuples, that is variable, terminals, production rules and start symbol. So this variable is, it is a combinations of both terminal and non-terminal like that. The variable is always a uppercase letters. Variables is always a uppercase letters, and terminals that stands for always a lowercase letters A to Z. Lowercase letters A to Z, arithmetic operators, special characters, all we can call them as a terminal symbols. And P that stands for it is a production rule, and S that stands for start symbol. So the grammar in general, there are 4 components. Similarly, in context-free grammar, where G is also the consist of the same 4 components are there. So the right-hand side of your strings of 0 or more variables and terminals. 0 or more variables and terminals. So if we have a production, A gives, for example, AB. A gives, AB is a production where A is a terminal because it is written in the form of lowercase letters. Always lowercase letters are called or treated as a terminal symbols. Likewise, B. B is an uppercase symbol. So uppercase letters are always denoted as a variables. Okay. So the right hand side of this contains both terminal and non-terminal likewise. So the right hand side of the each rule is a string of 0 or more variables and terminals. So if hereafter if we go for call as a string, means the string that consisting only the terminals. The string means that consists of only the terminal symbols. That means lowercase letters. So as I said, this context-free grammar that consists of these 4 tuples. This is also similar to other languages like G equals VTPS, variable, that is V that stands for finite set of variables or non-terminals. I said already it is a variable or non-terminals, and T that stands for finite set of terminals. So V and T do not intersect. So we cannot intersect this. We intersect T like that. We do not do like that. So do not intersect, do not use the same symbols. This is our sigma. Sigma, already we know that it is a set of terminal symbols, that is input symbol. Sigma is an input symbol or a set of terminals. Likewise, where the P is a production rule, P is a production rule, is a set of productions. On each of this production in the form of A gives alpha. A gives alpha. So here A implies alpha. A implies alpha, where A is in that variable V. V means V, that stands for variable. Where this A is in the variable and alpha is, where this alpha is that, what is the combinations of variable union terminal clean star. That means what? We may have more number of variables, terminal symbols like that. I mean 0 or more occurrences of variables and terminals. That is the meaning of here V union T star. V union T whole power star. That is variable union T. That is combinations of both terminals and non-terminals that occurs 0 or more. So another one note is that here that alpha may be epsilon, where this alpha may be a epsilon. So what is the meaning here? The alpha also be a epsilon. That is, an epsilon means which is denoted as an empty string. So alpha may become a epsilon. Where S is the starting non-terminal. Where S is the starting non-terminal. So look at this. For example, if you have a production, A gives alpha, where A is the start symbol, that is starting non-terminal. The first productions on the left hand side, the A, we can take here A, where A is the starting non-terminal, where this starting non-terminal S is also in that variable. That is variable means always an uppercase letters. Now let's go for see the examples of this context free grammar by seeing this 0 power k, 1 power k, where k is greater than or equals 0. So we have to prove that whether it is a context free grammar or not. One thing we have to understand here, by seeing this example, we can go for do some derivations in the right side of these productions. So we have to replace that the non-terminal into terminals. Okay. So what is the language? What is that language is given? The language is set of strings 0, 1. The language is that set of strings 0, 1, where this 0 power k, 1 power k. What is the condition here? Where this k is greater than or equals 0. K is greater than or equals 0. So now we have to go for write it this given language into grammar format. So grammar, we know that it consists of 4 tuples: V, T, P, S. So V that stands for variable. V that stands for variable. So T that stands for terminals, that is a binary string. So we have a terminal, and P is a production rule. So production rules are given here, and start symbol. So S is the start symbol. So we have the given productions. Now let's go for see this one, the examples of this derivations. How can we go for the derivations? So we can write this derivations either 1, 2 like that, or we can go for make it into as a one single productions, because both are same. So S implies 0, S, 1 or epsilon. 0, S, 1 or epsilon. So, the given production, we can numbering this. S implies 0, S1 as a first production. For this first production, S is a variable, that is a non-terminal. So, this non-terminal can be replaced by epsilon. So, this is in the form of A gives alpha. A gives alpha, where this alpha, what is the rule as given? It is variable union terminal whole power star. That is the rule as given. Also, the alpha may also belongs to a epsilon. So, as per this rule, variable union terminal symbols. So, combinations of both 0 is a terminal, 1 is the terminal and S is a variable. Variable is in uppercase letters. So, here S is a variable, that is written in a uppercase form, that is a non-terminal. So, we can take this first production, S implies 0, S, 1. Now, we can take the second production, S implies epsilon. So, we can go for substitute second productions. We can substitute the second productions, then we may get the answer 0, 1. So, this grammar that generate the strings 0, 1. Again, we may go for applying the same recursively, right? We can go for replacing in the right hand side. Now, take again the first production, you may take it, and we can go for substituting the first production again, 0, S, 1. So, this instead of S, it can be replaced by 0, S, 1. So, in this 0, S, 1, then we may get 0, 0, S, 1, 1. Okay. Suppose if we go for replacing here, we may get S tends to, what is that? 0, 0, S, 1, 1 like that. Where suppose if we go for replacing this by using the production rule number 2, then we may get 0, 0, 1, 1 like that. So, this is the one form. So, we may get the strings. We may get the strings S implies 0, 0, 1. Already what we have got it this 0, 1. So, we may get the strings S tends to 0, 1. And again we may go for substitute again. Then we may get 0, 0, 1, 1 like that. If we go for substitute recursively like this, then we may get the strings 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. So, we may get S tends to 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1 like that. So, this can be has returned as in the form of 0 power k and 1 power k. 0 power k and 1 power k. So, that is what the return, the language, that is the language that equal to 0 power k, 1 power k, where k is greater than or equals 0. The k is greater than or equals 0. So, this is the examples of the context-free grammar for the language 0 power k, 1 power k, where k is greater than or equals 0. Sometimes the questions also may be changed this one. So, k, instead of k, they may be given like that n, like 0 power n, 1 power n, where n is greater than or equals 0. So, that is that language, we may get it like that, L equals. So, both are same. Hope so everyone may understand this. Now, let's go for see another one examples for this context-free grammar. In this context-free grammar, G that consists of A, B, C, S. So, we have 4 variables and terminals. These and all variables. V. This and all T that stands for terminals. This is for P as a production rule as it is. S is the start symbol. So, this is the given productions. So, the given productions is P. They are given as a 7 productions they are given. So, from this production, which one is the starting symbol? So, first production, in this first production, the first symbol is the start symbol. So, that is what they mentioned here, the start symbol is S. So, we should not or do not take any symbols in the second productions or third productions and so on. So, we have to take the start symbol always on the first productions on that left hand side. So, here S is the start symbol. Now, we can go for replacing this, that is the derivations, we can go for replacing this one. So, the first productions, what is the given? S implies ABC. S implies ABC. Now, this ABC can be reduced into BC because of the rule 3. What is the rule 3? I mean the production 3, A gives epsilon. So, we are going to substitute the epsilon here, then we may get BC. We may get BC. Likewise, if you go for fifth rule, B also produces the epsilon and C also produces the epsilon as per the production rule number 7. So, we can go for replacing this B into C and C into epsilon. So, what we have to understand, we have to replace this only one non-terminal at a steps, and every steps you have to replace only one non-terminal. We cannot take or replacing all these non-terminals become to epsilon or like that. So, the first step they are removing, I mean this is reduced in the form of A is reduced as epsilon. So, we may get BC. The next step B is reduced because B is an epsilon, that is an empty. Now, C is reduced into epsilon. So, the S that generate that epsilon, that is the first strings epsilon, that is the chances of epsilon. Suppose we may go for take this the productions S, where this S implies A, B, C, then we can go for, instead of that we can go for substitute some other rules. So, like here we can go for replacing this rule number 2. What is the rule number 2? I mean production number 2, we have to replace the A by AA. Replace the A by small a, capital A. So, here A is there, this A has replaced into small a, capital A. So, rest of the B and C is as it is. We can written like that. Again, we may go for substitute the rule 2 again in the place of A. Then we may get this A is already existing, right? So, this A is comes on the form of this A. Because of this, we can get it. So, remaining BC is as it is. Now, AA, BC, as per the rule, production number 3, what is that? Production number 3, A implies epsilon. So, we go for substitute the epsilon into the place of A, then we may get AA, BC. Now, we can go for replacing this into by rule number 4. Rule number 4, what is the meaning? I mean the production number 4, B implies small b, capital B. So, B implies this B that implies small b, capital B. So, rest of the C is as it is. So, now we may get like this. Now, the capital B has the reduced, that means as per the rule number 5, it has generated the epsilon, then we may get the remaining A, B and capital C. But this capital C can be replaced into small c, capital C. So likewise, it is replaced as a small c, capital C. Then we may go for replacing this, the rule number 7, the capital C again, it is reduced as a epsilon. So we may get this one as AABC. AABC. So this is the way we can go for replacing the non-terminals on the right side of these productions at every steps. Do not replace all. We have to replace that one by one. We have to replacing this non-terminal into terminal or any other productions. We have to do stepwise. Every step we have to replace only one non-terminal. So next step we can go for replacing the next non-terminal or reducing anything. But we should not do all the replacements at a stretch in a single step. Okay. So what we have to understand here, what is the language which is generated? What is the language generated? A star, B star, C star. So what is the language is generated is A star, B star, C star. So what is the star that indicates, for example, A star. What is the meaning? A star means it is an epsilon, 0 or more occurrences of A. So it may generated 1A, 2A, 3A and so on. Likewise, B star. That means 0 or more occurrences of B. B, BB, BB and so on like that. Similarly for C star also. Epsilon, small c, CC, CCC like that. This is the meaning of this A star, B star, C star. So what is the language is generated? A star, B star, C star. Because A star also become epsilon, B star also become epsilon and contains C star also become epsilon. So what is the S production? So the S that generate the epsilon. So as per this replacement, this S has generate the epsilon. So that is the epsilon. If you go for applying this one, if you go for replacing in different productions rules, applying repeatedly, then the strings may be getting varied. Instead of this rule 2, we may go for replacing this. Instead of taking replacement of A, if you go for replacement of B. So replacement of B is that contains BB. Likewise, if you go for changing this production rule and applying recursively, then it generates different number of strings, that is contains number of A's is different, number of B has different and number of C is also different. So that that's what they mentioned, that the grammar G that generates the language A star, B star, C star. So the formal definitions of context-free language. The formal definitions of context-free language, where this grammar that consists of 4 tuples VTPS be a context-free grammar, then observation is that implies that is left hand side implies the right hand side, that is form of relations on variable V that contains variable union terminal power closure, star. So let A be in variable and B in V union T star, then A implies B and P is the projection, that alpha and beta be in V union T star. So what is the meaning here? Alpha A beta, that implies alpha beta B. So that is a replacement. We can go for this. A implies B. So alpha may be alpha A beta directly derives that alpha B beta. In other words, alpha B beta follows the form of alpha A beta by the applications of exactly one productions from the P. P that stands for the productions. So what is that observations? That is the meaning of this arrow mark, that is implies symbol which is denoted the form of relations on variable union terminals power closure. There's a closure property, clean closure properties like that, and V union whole, V union T power star. Now, by using this context-free language, we can go for that the languages of palindromes. So we can easily showing that the pumping lemma for the language W, the language consists of the string W. The language consists of string. The string is denoted in the form of W, where if you go for writing this W equals reverse of W, W power R, that stands for reverses of the string, is not a regular language. So palindrome is not a regular languages. That means the palindrome, the language is not recognized by finite automata and deterministic finite automata. Both DFA and NFA is not recognizing that languages, that is W power R, because it is a context-free language. If it is a regular language, means both NFA and DFA it recognizes that one. So, however, we can describe this language by the following context-free grammar over the alphabets. So, we can go for describing this here over the alphabet. We have this given productions. The more compactly we can write it, these productions are written in the form of like this. That is the R symbol. That is slash that means indicates the R. So P implies epsilon. And one more P production, P implies 0. So it is written as a P implies 0, or P implies 1, or P implies 0, P 0, or P implies 1, P 1 likewise. So both are the same, but we can go for writing in a compact form. We can take it in the one line. We can write by using this slash, that is the OR operators, that is alternative productions. Okay, the P have many number of productions are there. So we can write either this form or that form. Both are here same meaning for every grammars like that. So this sample context-free grammar, let's we go for describing this. For example, we may go for describe that languages. So generally the languages we may have in programming language like a C or C++, or it may be any Java. We may go for declare the variable. That is identifiers. So the naming rule for an identifier is first this must be a letter. The first symbol must be a letter, where followed by it may be a letter or digits. Likewise, For example, we may go for right. We may go for right like this, integer a. It's a valid variable. Likewise, integer a1, it's also valid. So, integer a1, it's also valid. So, what is the naming rule? Or integer a21a, like that. So, what is the naming rule? As per the naming rule, the variable beginning with letter, then followed by either letter or digits. So, those letters or digits may be occurrences of many times. So, from this grammar, we can go for that the expression is an identifier. Here, the E is an expression is not, they mention as an identifier. Identifier means what? It is a variable. So, the variable, suppose if you have a variable a plus b, a is also a variable and b is also a variable. So, E that stands for the expression, that is called as a E plus E. Why I mentioned here E plus E? A plus B, it is a arithmetic expressions, addition. E plus E that stands for E is an one expression that contains A and one more expression E that contains that B. So, these two expressions are added. So, that's what they mention here, where E is an expressions is an identifier, where this identifier may in the form of E implies E plus E, that is adding of two expressions. Then we can go for doing all this in the arithmetic operations. So, E implies E star E, that is a multiply of two expressions. And we may go for parenthesis, add a parenthesis within this identifiers. For example, we may write A plus B. So, we may take this one as E, open E, close, like that, where E, this one is called as a A is one expressions, B is one expressions. We are going to add those two expressions, that is E plus E, and this E plus E has reduced into E. Likewise, we have go for this multiplications and adding parentheses, and it may go for a letter I that stands for may be taken as an identifier. So, this identifier has become a one letter, single letter, and this letter may be replaced by a identifier plus digits I, D. I that stands for identifier, then followed by a digits. And one more alternative protections of I implies I, L, I that stands for identifiers plus letters, and D that stands for the 0 to 9, that is a digits. The D may be in the any 0 to 9. For example, A plus 5. Okay, this is an expression E addition, where 5 is that what? 5 is the digits. So, we can go for replacing that one. So, the D is a digits from 0 to 9, where L is a letters, where these letters from A to Z, that is the lowercase letters, A to Z, and uppercase form A to Z. So, we can go for identifiers or regulars. So, these identifiers are regular, could describe the letter followed by letter plus digit power star. Why this is mentioned is that is an regular expressions. And this one is the regular expressions. Letter followed by letter plus digits. So we may have like this integer a1, integer a1. So look at that. First must be a letter. First must be a letter. These are all valid variable declarations. Then followed by here, what is that? Nothing. Here anything is there? Nothing. So integer a. Nothing is followed. It's a valid one. Right? Next, integer ab. Integer a1, 2, b likewise. These are all valid variables. So we have this letter. First is a letter. We may write. Then what is the given? Letter plus digit whole power star. So already you know that the star that indicates it may become 0 or more occurrences. That is a clean closure properties rules. As per that, it is contain 0 or more occurrences, either letter or plus digits that comes more number of times. So that only they mention here, but letter is must. Beginning with letter is must. Then followed by either letter or digit is that occurrences of 1, 0 or more like this. Okay, so this is the regular expression format. So this is called as a regular expressions. So we may, a short form also we can write in this identifier. That means the variables that equals, first it must be a letter, then followed by a letter or digits. But these letters or digits comes many times or 0 or more times. So we can write this star. Okay. So this is the regular expressions for that. This is the way we can go for writing. So we will see this one regular expressions already. We have seen this one. Now let's go for see this next. So this context-free language. So this context-free language. Context-free language. The context-free grammar is a 4 tuples. The language generated or derived from the G is set where S tends to set of strings. Where S tends to set of strings. Where the definition, the language L is a context-free if there is a context-free grammar. If there is a context-free grammar. So the language L of G. So language of, how can we write the languages of context-free grammar? L of G that equals W, but W is nothing but a strings, but the strings may be derived. It is going to replace it by the terminal symbols. So that's what they mention as a star, that is 0 or more occurrences. So the language L is a context-free if there is a context-free grammar. A language is said to be a context-free language if there is a context-free grammar. A grammar that generates the strings, the strings is become a context-free language. Or the language generated the strings may be in this context-free grammar. So, but all the strings are not in the context-free grammar. Some languages may be in the regular type. Regular grammar. Now let's go for that. Next topic is a parse tree. So parse tree is nothing but it is a graphical representations of derivations. In a tree structured format, we can go for the graphical representations. So parse tree is nothing but it is a derivation tree. Derivation is a tree in which each internal node is labeled with non-terminal symbols. Each internal node with non-terminal symbols and leaf node that contains the terminals, or it may be the non-terminals, like that. So look at that, where S implies AS. Suppose if we have a productions, in the form of so if we have a productions S tends to AS, S tends to AS, then S tends to B, and S tends to E, and S tends to A. Actually, this is what is called as a given productions. These given productions, we can call this all that. These productions we can go for write in the form of the graphical representations, that is in a tree structured format, that is mentioned called as a parse tree of a derivation is a tree in which each internal node is labeled with a non-terminal. So this is the leaf node. These are all the leaf node, where this leaf node that contains only a terminal symbols. The leaf node that contains terminal symbols, where the internal node, that is the intermediate node, here it is the intermediate node, this is the intermediate node, and this is the intermediate node, and this is the root node. This is called as a root node. This is called as a root node, and this we can call it as a internal node. It's called as an internal node. So each internal node is labeled with a non-terminal, and the rule is in the form of A implies A1, A2, and so on up to A of n. Occurs the derivation A is a parent node, where A is the parent node. Likewise, here S is that root node, or we can call it as a parent node. It's a parent node. Okay, now let's go for say this, the simple parse tree for this derivations. So the simple parse tree for this derivations, what is the derivation is given? S implies A, S implies A or AB, where this A implies epsilon, small a, capital A, small b, A, both are capital. And this B can be replaced, or the B productions that contains B, BC, capital B, C, small b and capital B. So this productions we can go for constructing this derivations. So we can go for derive many parse trees. We can go for derive many parse trees. For example, we can take this first productions. We can take this first production, S tends to AB. So here S tends to AB. Right? So this AB, again it is replaced by AB likewise. What is that? AB likewise it is going to replaced, because this A has replaced by double A, right? So we can go for this replaced by double A, and as it is the B. Now After this, we can go for replacing as small a. Capital A gives the small a. So this capital A is replaced into small a and rest of this AB. So now again this a can be replaced by small a, then we may get a, B. Now the b can be replaced by small b, caps B. So a is already there, small b, cap B, uppercase B is replaced by this one. Then this B is become a small b. It is generated one more production, small b. So we may get like this a, B likewise. So what are the productions we have taken for this one? So we can first, we may write like this a and S tends to AB, and A implies epsilon, and A implies small a, and A implies capital A, B, and A implies capital A, capital A. Then we can go for the B productions. B implies small b, and B implies, the next one is that BC, and next B production that implies BC, and B that implies small b and capital B. So we may go for numbering this one 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So totally we have 10 productions. Okay, so first S tends to AB. S tends to AB. This is as per the rule 2. As per the productions AB. Next, this S is replaced into capital A, B, right? So this is as per that productions of rule number 6. This is what they are written here, AB, AAB likewise. And next, this A can be replaced by small a, because as per the rule number 4. Likewise, if we go for that, again A, this A also again we go for replaced by small a followed by capital B. This is what. So this also use the same production rule number 4. Then we may go for replacing A, B. So B has so many productions are there. Then we may go for take this B as per the production number 10. Thereafter, we may go for A, B. The B is replaced by small b, that is as per that 7. So we have taken the order 2, 6, 4, 10, 7 likewise. So this order. Instead of that, we can take any productions. We can take this any number of this production. So we may start with the 2 and derive the strings. You may go for start with A, then we may go for derived any strings. So likewise, we can take any order. Then this order we can go for draw it into that parse tree. So S tends to A and S tends to B. So the next step, A tends to A. So A tends to A and A. This B is there. Next, this A tends to A. Capital A as it is there. Then next step, again this A is become A likewise. So we are going to replacing that B. Now the B is replaced into small b, caps B. Again this B can be replaced by small b and small b. No. B is replaced by only small b. Okay, B is replaced by small b only. So what we have seen, A, B, B, A, B, B. So this is that root node or parent node. These are all that interior node. Okay, so these interior nodes are uppercase letter, that is variables, and the leaf nodes are strings. Leaf nodes are strings, that means only terminal symbols. Okay, now let's we go for see this one by one. So these two derivations use the same productions but in different orders. So second one, we may take this order as AB. Instead of that, we may take this AB. Then we may replacing likewise. So this ordering difference is often an interesting. So derivation trees give a way to abstract way for ordering this differences. So look at this. S tends to AB, where A tends to AA, B, B likewise. So root label, that is a starting node. Each interior label is a variable and each parent child is a relations. And that is a terminal. Each leaf label is a terminal or epsilon. So all leaf labels together is a derived strings of, that is yield strings. That is that yield strings that contains only the terminal symbols, that is a path tree. So in this derivations, in this path tree, then we are going to see about that leftmost derivations and rightmost derivations. So what is called here the leftmost derivations and rightmost derivations? A leftmost derivation is a sentential form is always replacing the leftmost non-terminal. That is called as in the leftmost derivations. In rightmost derivations also in the form of sentential, in which the transforming the rightmost non-terminal, always we can go for replaced into terminal. So we can go for replacing rightmost non-terminal into terminal. So leftmost derivation means we have to replace the leftmost non-terminal. And rightmost derivation means always we can go for replacing that rightmost non-terminal. So that is that leftmost derivations and rightmost derivations. So we will take the simple two derivations are there, the leftmost derivations and rightmost derivations. So what we have seen in this previous, the same we can take it here. As per this production, S implies AB. But this AB is replaced, this is the left and this is the right. This is for the right. This is for the light. Which one now we can go for this? We can go for replacing this. First A is replaced, so remaining B is there. Next the A is replaced, so A, capital AB is remaining. So after that, this A is replaced. So we can go for replacing the leftmost non-terminal. Look at that. This is the leftmost non-terminal. This is the leftmost non-terminal. Here, the leftmost non-terminal means what? Small a is a terminal, where the caps A is a non-terminal. So the leftmost non-terminal only we can go for replacing. Likewise, rightmost. So here, A, capital A, B, the leftmost non-terminal is that A. We are going to replace that small a. Now, leftmost non-terminal is only one non-terminal, that is the leftmost. So we can go for replace into that A, B, B likewise, then we can go for. So this is what leftmost derivations. So we can write in the form of abbreviated form of LMD. LMD, that stands for leftmost derivations. Similarly, we will go for taking this one as S tends to AB. Now, this A can be replaced by AB. Here AB, then remaining things B. We can go for choose some other productions. We can go for replacing this we can go for replacing this one. Then we can go for this AB, A, B, B likewise. Then we can go for replacing this B by B. So this B is replaced by B. So this B has replaced by this small b, then capital B like that. Then we may go for this B, B, A is become again AA. So we can go for substitute in different number of productions. Then we may get likewise. So we may go for replacing that leftmost non-terminals likewise, that is the leftmost derivations. So these two derivations is that leftmost derivations, and here we can go for replacing that. We can go for replacing this. This is for leftmost derivations LMD, and this is that the B is replaced. This B is replaced by small b, capital B. So here the rightmost derivation, rightmost non-terminal is B, where A is the leftmost non-terminal. So here they are taken here BB. So they are replacing that rightmost non-terminal. So this rightmost non-terminal again replaced into B, then we may get like this. So where is the rightmost non-terminal here? Only one non-terminal, that is A. Again A is replaced into A, and rest of the BB as following same. Then we can go for replacing the rightmost non-terminal, means this A is the rightmost non-terminal, that is replaced by small a. Then after we can go for replacing this, the rightmost non-terminal is this A can be replaced by AA, BB. So this is become rightmost derivations RMD, LMD and RMD, leftmost derivations and rightmost derivations. So these two derivations are special. First derivation is the leftmost, so always pick the leftmost non-terminals. That second one is the derivations, always we pick that rightmost non-terminal. We can go for replacing this. So the derivation tree will go to see this one. For this production, S implies AB, and A is replaced by AA and B is replaced by BB. So we can go for draw the derivation tree for this given productions by using the leftmost derivations. So we can, the given input string W is AA, BB. So now let's we go for choose the next. S tends to AB. Again we go for this leftmost non-terminal is replaced is A. Then again A is replaced by AB, A likewise. Similarly, S tends to A gives A, and again A is replaced by AA, likewise AB likewise. So we can go for replacing this leftmost non-terminal or rightmost non-terminal. If the question is that applying leftmost derivation means we have to replace always the leftmost non-terminal. Where the question is the rightmost derivation means always we have to replace that rightmost non-terminal. Next we are going to see about that ambiguous grammar. A grammar is said to be ambiguous. It generates or it produces more than one leftmost derivations or rightmost derivations. If you have more than at least two different path trees, it has to produce more than one leftmost derivations or rightmost derivations, then the grammar is said to be an ambiguous grammar. I repeat this, a grammar is said to be an ambiguous grammar if it generates more than one leftmost derivations or rightmost derivations. Whereas in another term also we can go for defining that what is that ambiguous grammar. A grammar is an ambiguous if it generates the two different parse trees. It generates that two different parse trees for the given strings. In this case, we can call it as a ambiguous grammar. Either we can go for write it the definitions in the form of one or more leftmost derivations or rightmost derivations, then the grammar is said to be ambiguous. That is the one definition. Another one definitions also we can write. Both are same, but we can go for writing in different form. At least two different parse trees. The grammar that generates two different parse trees for the same input string, then the grammar is said to be an ambiguous. By definitions of LMD or RMD also we can define, or else we can go for by using the parse tree also we can define that ambiguous grammar. So we have to go for leftmost derivations and rightmost derivations. So we can take two different productions and we have to generate the same input strings for that one. Then the grammar is said to be ambiguous. So let's see this ambiguous grammar. In this ambiguous grammar, I have taken this one. E implies I, where E implies E plus E, E implies E star E, and E is open, E close, and I that stands for identifier or anything, that is epsilon 0 or 1 likewise. So what is the meaning here? It may have an arithmetic expressions. So this given input string is 3 into 2 plus 5. 3 into 2 plus 5. So what is the meaning here? As per this one, star on the top and plus on the top and two leftmost derivations. We have to generate that two leftmost derivations. So we can take any productions. First here it takes that E star E. So this E star E, where this E, the leftmost non-terminal is what? The first E. This is the leftmost non-terminal, where this leftmost non-terminal is replaced by I. So we may replace by this I into E. Then I is a non-terminal. I is a non-terminal. So we can, this non-terminal I can be replaced by in the form of epsilon, 0, 1, any numeric numbers. So this I can take it for this input string is that, what is the given input string is that 3. So I replaced as a 3. Right? Then after I may go for that E, where this E is replaced into E plus E. This E is replaced into E plus E. The same, the leftmost non-terminal is I. Again this I is replaced by 2 because the next input is at 2, star 2. So 3, 2, again 3, 2 plus E. Then again 3 into 2 plus I is become replaced by 3 into 2 plus I. So we are taken from this production E star E, that is the first we are taken here. Instead of that, we may go for taking some other productions like E plus E. We may go for taking that E plus E. So now it's taken this E plus E, whereas here we are taken that E star E. So it generates the strings 3 into 2 plus 5, 3 into 2 plus 5. In both, they are replacing this leftmost non-terminal. They are replacing only that leftmost non-terminal. So this E is replaced by E star E and plus E. And this E is replaced by I, and I is replaced by 3. Next, again this E is replaced by I plus E, and I is replaced by 2, and this E is replaced by I, and 3 into 2 plus I. So we have chosen these two different productions. These two different productions, we are going to replacing the leftmost non-terminal. Both leftmost derivations. There are two. This is for leftmost derivations 1. This is for leftmost derivations 2. So there are two leftmost derivations for the same input strings. Two leftmost derivations for that same input strings. Then we can call it as this grammar is an ambiguous. In otherwise, we can go for using the rightmost derivations also. We can go for replacing that into rightmost derivations also. Instead of that, we can go for replacing this rightmost non-terminal. Then we may arrive like this. Then the grammar is said to be ambiguous grammar. So the grammar is ambiguous or unambiguous. What is called as an unambiguous grammar? For example, unambiguous grammar. S implies A, S, B, and S implies A. This grammar is an unambiguous because only one non-terminal in the right hand side. If you go for replace this S by A, then we can get this one A, B. Only one leftmost derivations. Okay. Likewise, if you go for leftmost derivations, suppose if you go for replacing this one from the rightmost non-terminal again yes, then we may get A, B like that. So, for the same input strings A, B, we have only one leftmost derivations and one rightmost derivations, not more than one. So, this type of grammar we can call it as a unambiguous grammar. So, the grammar is an ambiguous or unambiguous. If it is an ambiguous means it generates or it produces more than one leftmost derivations or rightmost derivations. Or in another form of definition is the grammar that produces more than, two parse trees for the given input strings. Two or more parse trees for that given input strings, then we can call it as a ambiguous. Whereas if you go for it generates only one leftmost derivations or rightmost derivations or one parse tree for the given input string means it is called as an unambiguous grammar. So, this is an examples of unambiguous grammar. Okay. Say this one again, we are proving that it is that leftmost derivations. There is a parse tree in the way of parse trees. So, E gives E plus E. Again, E is replaced by the leftmost non-terminal is E. It is replaced into E star E. Then E is replaced by I. 3 into 2 I. 5. Right? This is for leftmost derivations. Here we can take this one. E implies E star E. Then we can generate that the same. Okay. This is the way of graphical representation by using the parse trees. Previous one we can go for replacing this as a productions format. So look at this, we can go for C like that. So another leftmost derivations for the same input strings. There are two leftmost derivations, leftmost derivation 1 and leftmost derivation 2 for the same input strings. So the given grammar is an ambiguous grammar. So another concept is a disambiguous, where this is an ambiguous. So disambiguations of the grammar is also, I told you like that, that is it generates only one parse tree and only one leftmost derivations. Then it is called as a disambiguations or unambiguous. We can call it as a disambiguous or unambiguous. That means only one parse tree or one leftmost derivations. This case we can call as a disambiguations. So, the language may be inherently unambiguous. The language may be inherently ambiguous. That is, if we have this language A power n, B power n, C power m, D power m, this is the one language. Okay, that union of another one language. If you go for combine two languages inherently, then we may call this as a ambiguous. Okay, if you go for doing this union operations of these two languages, this is the one language and this is another one language, we can go for using this union operations, that is we go for combined together, then we may have the inherently is an ambiguous grammar. So the assignment topic for you, I given here, there's two assignments or that. So you have to prove that the grammar is ambiguous or not by using this E implies E plus E productions and E implies E star E on productions. But that is the one. And second one I given here, S tends to AS or epsilon, where A implies A1 and replaced by 0, A1 or 0, 1. So I hope you all may understand this concept, and we'll see the remaining in the upcoming videos. So please, all of you have to submit these questions as an assignments. Thank you.